Last time on Ope Legends of Raspia. Finishing up with his shift, Feaubear Dongodiere prepares for an epic showdown with his rival Gadley Bo'Maley. We find our hero sitting at the bar as dishes collect before him. Will he defeat his rival in the ancient art of the wash-off? Leave your earthly troubles behind and let's see what happens here on Ope Legends of Raspia.
Let's do a perception roll as the shift continues. And you watch those dishes a pile, and they a pile.
16 on my perception.
So, you see that the kitchen is particularly busy this evening. It has a lot of cheese-based foods, a lot of cactus-based foods, and that shit turns to paste after it's been cooked, as I'm sure you all know. And you know that it's mostly food dishes, but there are a couple of mugs that have been used. Dara throws them in there because Dara knows what she's doing. And so some of these mugs are chipped and cracked. And they're the older mugs, so they're considered like antiques. And a lot of people claim them as their own. So one of you know how locals can be, hey, you might get that's my mug, blah, blah, blah. This is very important to these Caltarian people. So, as you see several of the chipped mugs stack up, and you know the stakes are even higher socially, the shift comes to an end, but as it does so and you prepare for a wash-off, you find yourself standing at the sink behind the bar. You're sort of warming up your hands like this. Gadley's got his secret family sponge, probably unrelated to canon and narrative effect, I imagine. So, he has his sponge, he's wetting it adequately, he's testing the moisture levels, he just soaks it up, sort of rings it as he looks at you angrily, and then tests it. It needs to be a little more moist. Which sponge do you use? You have a sort of older, crusty one, and then you have, of course, the Fibra wines, the Fibra wool. That you can. Fibra is, of course, one of the rare and very effective metals that's comparable to steel.
Would I be able to snag both of these said sponges?
It will occupy both of your hands, which is going to make it difficult to grab the dishes. However, you can do this as you are experienced. It will be a tier 2, which means I add 20 to the roll.
Let's stay away from that for the moment. All right. Well, my plan of attack is to go with the dishes first. The plates, the ooey gooey plates.
Oh, do you mean to tell me that in this dish wash off, your first, what you're gonna do is wash the dishes? Why are you saying
I stomp his toe.
That will be an agility test. Mospirians are very high in agility.
So I have 4 agility, and I rolled 19 on my die. So that brings my total of 23.
Ouch! You've assaulted the smallest of my toes. Oh, there are some things you cannot undo in this world.
And guess what? I believe that you have another one of those small toes. So why don't you keep your comments to yourself?
Why don't you put your sponge and or fiber wool where your mouth is, and let's start this wash off.
I'm actually going to put my sponge and or fiber wool in my hands rather than my mouth. But, you know, to each their own sort of, technique.
Look, you suddenly learned what being literal is. So, dexterity test, and I'll have you know I'm using a Bo'Maley family sponge. To the 6 people watching all of this, eagerly I say, the finest sponges in all of Caltaria. Use the code name Gadley at the door and you will find yourself with a discount of 10%. Gadley Bo'Maley sponges.
Everyone's like, we know, Gadley, God, we know. We all have one, they're great.
For the plates, I would like to use the fiber wool.
You'll be going at those first, you say?
Exactly.
Now this is why we get into role-playing games. Epic dishwashing competition, right in live action. You gotta love it.
Why we're here, folks.
That's why we're here. That's what we bring to you here at Bard Fox. Frankly, we're all welcome. So, You are going to have a dexterity test. This will be you checking your bad pie for DEX and adding it to your result total. I'll have you know that he does receive an advantage due to this Bo'Maley sponge. They are quality products.
In this case, I do not have any dexterity. 5.
You twit. I am destroying you. Clearly, you can see that I have washed 5 pans where you have only washed 3.
Well, keep on washing.
Keep on washing. Let's go ahead and do a perception roll as we go back to the top of the order or the world star.
4.
So, people are freaking out. Yeah, wash off, wash off. Usually, Dara gives out drinks before and after a wash off, just because it's good for enthusiasm, and drunk people tip better. Am I right? See you in the comments. So, I almost said third round. This is why we edit. He's not gonna edit that out. So, all of a sudden, Wami Tate's over there, jangling away on his keys. Listen to him. Oh, it's so fitting for such a strange time. Ah! And everyone stops and looks at the door as someone covered in golden armor from head to toe staggers in through those classic Western saloon doors, why? So bursts through them with a desperate look on his face, and he's covered in blood, and it's not yet dry, and everyone looks over at him. And then they go right back to the wash off, wash off, wash off, wash off.
I'm in it to win it.
And so he's standing there, looking very expectantly, But you guys have seen all kinds of things at the Just a Mirage. It's been a pretty consistent, weird time. On a Munro, someone calling in covered in blood. The armor's weirder than the blood. Let's be frank. This is Caltaria. So we have another dexterity roll for your wash off.
2.
I clearly have 10 of these food dishes finished, and you only have 7, though you are catching up to me. To wit, I say, you have an incoming defense roll.
Ooh.
This is a reaction, so when something happens in the world, the player's agility will dictate how quickly they can react to said thing.
In that case, I'd like to use my skill, Small Target, in order to give myself 10 more agility while dodging.
What type of skill is that? It should be listed in the parentheses just before the description.
Simultaneous to dodge.
I see, so this does apply exactly now. Simultaneous things happen simultaneously. So let's go ahead and roll them agility bones, my rat friend.
All right. So that is a natural 19. So 29, so 34, 33.
So, in I think it's Jungle Book, they they do the thing and it shoots the little squirts of water. Well, Gadley Bo'Maley has figured out exactly how to do that with his sponge. Just send a mean little bolt, just a little squirt. It's called a sponge squirt. And it just fires off just past your eyes. It would have staggered you. Staggering means he loses in action. But you are able to dodge out of the way, being that you are a quick little rat boy. So with that, we go back to your turn. You have 2 actions. You guessed it, listeners.
Well, that's some bullshit. Well,
Oops.
if it's a sponge squirt war you want, then it's a sponge squirt war you'll have.
I can't understand you. I don't know what a sponge squirt is.
Sponge squirt war. There it is.
I've cost you more time.
Can I take the other sponge and just lop it at him?
Dexterity to throw. This will be against his agility to dodge.
That's an 18 on my dexterity. Naturally.
You just thwop him right in the chest. Nasty, stinking old bar sponge. This is not a Bo'Maley sponge, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a nasty, stanky old soaking thing. Mildew. You know, like when you like wash your skin, it's like mildew. It's like, dude, it's time. It was time a long time ago. But the Just a Mirage doesn't pride itself on their sponges. That's the Bo'Maleys. So it staggers him. He will only have one action during his turn. Well done. Take a bit. Return. Fire.
All right. That should give me a leg up or a tail up. I have a tail.
It will go to your turn. However, before so, I will say that you notice that this enforcer has begun talking. An enforcer is a term for a Taurian enforcer, a Taurian soldier, a Taurian officer of some sort. Is talking to Dara. And Dara, she can't be bothered with all this. She do not care. She don't give a fuck, and she'll be the first person to tell you that.
Is that the same person coming in with the armor? That's the enforcer.
That is correct. That is the enforcer. And to be fair, it's the first one you've seen in a long time. Sometimes, very few times, Taurian caravans will pass right through. But it's a fairly rare sight. That being said, nothing takes precedence over a wash-off.
That's right. I've got to keep my concentration. So I'm going to keep on washing.
You just keep on washing. Let's do another dexterity to see if you can catch up with old Gadley Bo'Maley, who's blowing you out of the water in which you soak your dishes.
Seemingly, I'm much more adept at throwing sponges rather than using them for their intended purpose. This is a 6 for my dexterity.
I'm already on to the chipped mugs, you fool. You're terrible at your job, and I'm going to make all of the tips, the bits tips, if you will.
I won't.
So, the bartender, Dara, you can overhear, and you probably should be paying attention, but given your low dexterity results, there's something else going on in your mind. Your natural Feaubarian curiosity is drawn over to this new stranger, because though you do have a passion for washing dishes, you're really just building up to be what is it, Feaubear?
Well, I'd like to be the bartender here at the Mirage. And not only that, but it is in a deep want of mine to bring up the general palate of Caltaria. You know, I think that there's a world of flavor that people are just not exposed to here, and that they're not willing to, get in and try different mixes and combinations. And there's so much there. It's oh yeah.
The worst part, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary listeners at home, that was all canonical. Just kidding. I will not cost you an action for this. However, as you're saying this out loud to descriptively nobody, there's just a half dozen people who are jeering way too loud to hear you.
Uttering it myself.
Just scraping away with that fiber wool since you don't have a sponge anymore. And it is truly a passion. I shouldn't make fun of them for that. But I did. The GM you adored to abhor. Nailed it the second time. So, this conversation goes on betwixt Dara, and you have one final roll on your wash-off as he is working his way quickly through the chipped mugs, and you see your tangibility and Fri-rote and all those precious tips slipping from your fingertips.
Nailed it. All right. I really just need to put my head down and concentrate on this.
He says aloud to himself, distinctly not concentrating on this. So, squeaking away, the crowd is cheering away, the Taurian is standing away. You notice that it's not her blood that is on her armor. It is the blood of something or someone else. She doesn't seem to be wounded, just exhausted. She's rambling on about Visaria officers and things that probably don't matter to the story at all.
Sure. Well, as long as the blood isn't on any dishes, then it doesn't really,
It's all over the bar, but the dishes are mostly in the pit right now.
Okay. Then I see that there is absolutely no relevance whatsoever.
At all. So, let's go ahead and do our final dexterity of your wash-off. See if you can pull off some kind of strange miracle of some sort. Get this.
Come on.
Plates through so you can start working through those.
Brave me to eco. Come on.
Channeling is in her 20. We'll see if it works. It almost never does.
This is this is the best roll I've gotten yet at dishwashing. It's a 12.
Oh, that is good. That's good. That's like Han Blackheart being stoked about a C-. It's the best you've done. So what are you going to do?
I hurt myself with that one. So, you are finishing up, and you're like, yes, I've got this. I'm finally going to... And you look over and you see that Bo'Maley's sitting there with his sponge in this hand closer to his face than his drink, I guess. And he's like...
Empty glass of water. Still parched.
I'd like to go over to his pile of dishes and spit on them.
Only a Dongodiere leaves his dishes in a pile. What you see before you is a stack, and that will be a brawn test
to perform an organic action. This includes a lot of bodily functions, and I've had to deal with them all. So, let's go ahead and roll that brawn, strong brawn spit.
That's a 5 from me, dog.
So, as the tavern has settled down, which you can all totally hear already, and right in front of one of your probably more volatile patrons, known as Zan Hazard Hawthorne. And now the Hawthorns are the governing force in all of Caltaria. They're really more of like an old west gang. And Zan Hazard is sort of this young up and coming. It's rumored that someday she may become the matriarch leader of this particular sect of the Hawthorne clan. But Zan Hazard's mug, which she cherishes very much, is sitting just in front of her in its designated spot. There's a little ring of dust from where it sits, and you hit it at just the right angle. Miraculously, that thing just shatters all over the floor. Let's do a perception to see how old Zan Hazard reacts.
I got an 8.
So Zan Hazard looks at you. She's winding up when all of a sudden the enforcer turns her around and is like, "Oi, I need help. This is Toria, isn't it? I'm a Torian enforcer. You guys need to help me. We got a caravan of Osari out there. Is there anyone sober enough to take a Caltaro?" It's like a cowboy's lizard because the horses aren't there. Is anyone sober enough to take a Caltaro out? We need people. They're dying of thirst out there. Look at me. I had to kill my Delblin fowl. Oh.
Yep. Probably your best bet is not to go to the tavern looking for sober people. Just saying. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Actually, go ahead and make that an influence roll as you speak to the Torian guard.
That was a 10 influence on my part.
All right, look. I didn't come here for sober people. There's just no one else out there. Everyone's asleep for some reason. Now, I'll need a little bit of... And as he's talking, you see a familiar face walk through those classic saloony doors. And you see your grandfather, who has raised you to be a kind and gentle and generous dishwasher, walks in, and he immediately sees that this enforcer needs help. And he sort of walks over and says, "Well, is there anything I can do to help you? I've got a Caltaro, and we can get out there and help your friends if you'd like. But we only ask that you tip the bartender for her time."
Grandpa, it's a bit late. Shouldn't you be going off to bed?
Oh, right, of course. I was just to say not, boy. It's really more of a matter of not wanting to get old. The sun only just went down. We've got plenty of Caltara. We can get them out there in a hurry. Dara, I tell you what, why don't you come with me? And we're going to leave one of the boys in charge of the bar.
Oh. Yeah.
Gadley, why don't you go ahead and take over? Your father was just saying that he wants to promote you soon anyway. I'm so sorry, Feaubear. I know that's your dreams, but I'm already being pushed out of my ownership by these bastard Bo'Maleys anyway. So he's gonna take over the bar for tonight. But don't worry, I love you more.
Great. I'll be sure to cash in your love for some bits. Not a problem.
Oh, I think I'll make myself comfortable back here. I'm sorry, did you say you need a drink? Let me mix you a drink.
He looks over at you as he grabs the mixer first and just pours it in without looking. And then he pours the liquor in and spills some on the bar. And then he reaches down into a highly exclusive item that you guys do have, which is a freezer. It is run by Aquin Technology. Think water vendors, but without copyright infringement. And so you are able to make ice and include ice into your drinks, but it is highly exclusive, and the box is only, it's yay by yay. It's quite small. And so you are witnessing your grandfather leave the tavern with Dara and a handful of other sober Caltarians to go help out the Vasari guard. Thank you so much. Now this is a Torian hole. Torian's hole.
All right. Well, fuck this. I'll go with my grandfather now. I don't want to be around fucking Gadley. Not while he's in the bar.
Why don't you go ahead and leave mid-shift? I'm sure that won't affect your schedule negatively at all.
I was already off the clock, you fool.
You stay here now. It's just we need the help for you today. This is the family business, after all. You stay here now, Feaubear. I didn't raise you to go out into the arid knots and adventure like some freelancer.
Are you sure? I can definitely help out. You know me. I'm quite adept at riding the Caltaro.
It's true, and that lizard loves you, but I just have to say that we're actually really looking for more of a Dara sort, strong, hearty.
I can be hearty. I'm full of heart.
You sure can.
Yeah, that's right. So hearty. Why don't you heart your way over to the rest of the dishes that you didn't or did not or did finish?
You look over and he's knocked one of the stacks into the water.
Sorry, I'm clocked out.
Okay, so if you're clocked out, walk out.
Why don't you, you should probably clean up that glass before you hurt yourself.
I can't hear you. I'm making a drink.
You can hear me just fine.
Oh, I dropped an ice cube. That's gonna cost. Oh, chips? No, thank you. I'm fine. I have a Fri-rote shift.
Fucking hate this guy.
And with that, we bring our episode to a close, cliffhangery though it may be. Thank you so much for listening, listeners. Check us out at bardfox.com. I am Han Blackheart. This has been Rico Tahi as Feaubear Dongodiere. Our credits appear as such.
Yeah, it's pretty much just us.
And we will be back sooner than you think with another episode following the epic tale of the dishwasher, Feaubear Dongodiere, here on Legends of Raspia! Oh.
Despite having just discussed credits, here they are in full, as we are quite thorough and dedicated to giving credit where it do be due here at BardFox. Legends of Raspia is brought to you by BardFox. Olor and the game Legends of Raspia is created and produced by Han Blackheart and Rick Tahi. Story, music, and sound effects by Han Blackheart. Video and audio editing by Rick Tahi. This episode starred Rick Tahi as Feaubear Dongodiere. You can find him in the world. Our game moderator was Han Blackheart. Visual art created by Xanthi Blackheart. And check out BardFox's Instagram and bardfox.com for our weekly releases of Raspia music, this show, and much more to come. Thanks for listening, and as always, good luck back there on Earth.